Thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. Good afternoon, fellow professionals. Can you hear me at the back? Welcome to this presentation on best practices in material handling. You would have surely heard of these buzzwords, all the time. I know Mr. Ajay Chopra did speak about much of it still yet to happen, but you would have definitely heard these phrases and words. Some companies in India have adopted a few of these practices, and no doubt as we advance industrially and logistically, we will see more and more of these technologies in India. However, today my presentation is going to be on what's happening currently and how we can improve those practices itself. These will come, and when they come, maybe in the future we'll give presentations on those practices. Yeah. So currently we want to look at the current business environment across industries, and more importantly the scale of operations. Till GST really comes into India, I think scale of operations will continue to be small, mainly small, and a few large ones. Once GST comes, I think we'll see the scale changing rapidly. We look at things that make your rupee go a longer way, lift your profits, and address threats that include increased competition and, as Mr. Chopra would know, ever slim margins. Margins are very small in this business. Am I right? Or? Okay. So while best practices are those that achieve the goals better than any other technique, they must address, I feel, 4 principles or 4 objectives which are vital to good performance. And they are: improve the safety of people, handling equipment, property, and the goods being handled; drive operating costs down; boost and improve productivity of people, handling equipment, again, factory or warehouse space, as well as, actually the most important thing, money; and ensure that we move towards a sustainable future. So I think if you look at any best practice, if it meets these 4 criteria or meets a mix of these 4 criteria, then you know you've got a best practice in hand. So let's look at safety first. Safety, I would like to say, takes priority over everything else. Sadly, it's not always true, but yes, safety takes priority over everything and all other business activities. There are 4 main aspects of safety in material handling, since we're talking now about material handling. And they are: the first and most basic is, do you have the right kind of material handling equipment to do the material handling task? And are you using accessories that increase the safety of the lift of operations? Training is vital to make sure that equipment is properly used and in the correct way. Palletizing the goods, which is again a method yet to really catch on widely in India, but it's on the way, is very critical for safety. These would not be important maybe in the advanced countries. This talk is not important in the advanced countries, but I think very, very essential for where we are today and where we want to go in the future. Using the right equipment forms the very basis of safety in material handling. Since a very wide range of indigenously manufactured equipment are available in India, and along with the attachments and accessories, finding the right kind of equipment is actually relatively easy. Equipment manufacturers, I'm sure, would be happy to advise you, logistics providers, on the right mix of equipment for your operations. Simple accessories, and if you just see those pictures there, the gentleman at the top has got the right equipment. The gentleman at the bottom too, they've got the wrong equipment to handle the load. So that's what. Using the right equipment forms the very basis of safety in material handling. Since a very wide range of indigenously manufactured lift trucks, attachments and accessories are available in India, finding the right kind of finding the right kind of is the right thing. Now let us look at the accessories. Simple accessories like load backrests, seat belts, warning lights, reverse alarms, and fire extinguishers come at a fraction of a cost of buying a new equipment. These items and many more of them are mandated by law in advanced countries. They're also mandated by law in some of the developing countries. In India, it's not so. So in India, what happens is it's left to the Indian buyer to decide what he feels is the right choice for him to make for this equipment. As manufacturers, we would say these are mandatory and should be used by all people who use lifting and material handling equipment. The growth and maturing of the lift truck market in India has encouraged the use of different types of equipment. This makes it imperative for operators to learn how to use this equipment and not only use them well, use them correctly, drive them safely and well within the parameters. Not being able to do that can be a difference between life and death. It's that important, especially with material handling equipment. Though lift trucks move slowly as compared to cars, which is what normally people compare with all the time, their mass gives them a momentum which can be lethal. Thus, it is most essential that drivers sincerely run a daily safety checklist even before they start the machine every shift. Handling different types of goods in different work environments requires different truck driving techniques to ensure safe operations. We cannot emphasize, as manufacturers and as people in the material handling industry, we cannot emphasize the importance of training. I think it makes all the difference between having a major accident and saving a life. Palletizing goods is one of the easiest ways to dramatically improve the safety in material handling. Because pallets keep your goods intact and safe, forklift drivers can move palletized loads safer and faster. This also improves your productivity. We now look at ways of taking off wasteful costs out of the system. There are several ways of reducing costs in material handling. We've seen how using pallets through the supply chain helps move more material in less time, pushing down cost of handling. If the scale of operations is relatively low, consider pre-owned equipment, and that's one area where actually India can do much better. If many people say we can't do palletization because our complete supply chain does not have the ability to buy equipment, consider pre-owned equipment. Pre-owned equipment normally come at about 60-70% the cost of a new equipment, and that could be possible. And factory refurbished. Many of the manufacturers today in India factory refurbishes equipment and provide them with a small warranty to get the people going there. Improving the safety of people, goods, equipment and property will directly reduce the cost of damage, which will be huge in case of severe accidents. At a time when governments are wrangling over carbon footprints, we can hardly ignore the cost of energy. As we will see shortly, energy efficient lift trucks are key to reducing wasteful expenses. Some of the techniques we mentioned earlier, like WMS and RFID, help improve the speed and accuracy and timeliness of information flow, which Mr. Chopra adhered to in the beginning. He did refer to that because that's what's required: movement, storage and information flow. Reducing errors and enabling timely movement of goods helps reduce total cost. One aspect which we'll dwell on in the next slide is about total cost of ownership of material handling equipment. Now, this chart is a study which we've done over a period of time, and we've done it with another consulting organization. And you will find that the cost of a new equipment is really just about what, 14%, 13% of the total life cycle cost of the equipment. There are many other costs like running costs, salaries, maintenance, which form really the majority of costs which are related to equipment. However, most buyers tend to focus on the very first one, which really, if you see over a lifetime, is not all that much. Equipment buyers should therefore evaluate how the equipment manufacturer and supplier can help reduce the total cost of ownership, or TCO. Since maintenance makes up a good portion of TCO, users need to understand what prices they are likely to be charged for parts and services in the future, and with the availability of parts in the first place over the next 10 or 12 years of the life of the truck. The cost of energy is also a significant part of the TCO, so it is vital that the lift truck be maintained in good working condition with genuine parts, because a well-maintained forklift will consume much less energy than a poorly maintained one. Just like cars, again, driving habits decide the cost of maintenance. The driving habits of the operator decide the cost of maintenance and the cost of energy used. So again, training lift truck operators takes paramount importance. Moving on to the next one, that is improving the throughput and productivity of handling operations.